This message comes from Mint Mobile. Starting at $15 a month, make the switch at mintmobile.com/switch. $45 upfront payment for 3 months. 5 gigabyte plan equivalent to $15 a month. Taxes and fees extra. First 3 months only. See terms.
Have things changed so much or gotten so expensive that some people feel that it's normal to charge people like a fee to attend their wedding, like a club? Like, I don't know.
That's so tacky. Sorry.
There's been a lot of reporting over the years about how costly weddings are for couples. But recently, I've also seen a lot of chatter about just how expensive they are now for the guests. Here's Annie Joy Williams, assistant editor at The Atlantic.
I interviewed a woman who had been to 20 bachelorette trips.
20?
I know.
She wrote an honestly harrowing piece about how much people are spending on other people's weddings.
She had spent so much money and gotten into so much credit card debt during that process that when it was her turn to say I do, her husband and her sat down and they said, we pay off the credit card or we have a wedding. And there was really no option to have the wedding at that point. So they paid off the credit card and they eloped.
Annie Joy herself says she spent almost $20,000 over the years. And it seems like this experience, it's a little too common. A survey by LendingTree found that 31% of people who'd been to a wedding in the past 5 years had accrued debt to attend. But what's driving up the cost of weddings for guests? How has the culture around weddings changed, and what makes it so hard to say no to these expenses? I'm getting into it with Annie Joy.
Thanks so much for having us.
And Allison Reese, senior analyst at trend forecasting firm WGSN.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here.
Hello, hello. I'm Brittany Luce, and you're listening to It's Been a Minute from NPR, a show about what's going on in culture and why it doesn't happen by accident. All right, let's jump right in. What is the most you've ever spent to go to someone else's wedding?
The most I ever spent was probably around $5,000. That's including a flight to Italy. So my friend is Italian, and he and his wife decided to get married in Bologna. It was totally worth it. I was 9 months postpartum. It was expensive, but it ended up sort of being this like little vacation that I would have never taken otherwise.
The most I've probably spent on a wedding was one of the weddings that I was a maid of honor for. I spent around $4,000, I would say, all in. All the weddings I've been in have been in like rural America. So these are the cheapest places you can get married, and it's still costing this much for the guest and the bridal party.
Where do these guest expenses come from? I know there's a difference between, going to a wedding versus being in the wedding as a member of the wedding party, but both of those things can add up.
Yes. So obviously there's the cost of actually going to the wedding. So there's flight and hotel. And usually it's like a block of hotels where you're able to get a special rate.
Right.
I'm doing air quotes at the moment. It's a special rate, but it's still maybe like $500 a night for a hotel.
Yeah.
And sometimes people have an engagement party and a bridal shower and a bachelorette party. And so if you're very close with the bride, you're then expected to attend all of those things if you can. But for a bachelorette party now, there's the unwritten expectation that the bride pays for nothing.
Right. It depends on the situation, but that is definitely a thing.
Right. It's sort of like a gift maybe. But if the bride is concepting this, then they know what things cost, One of the things that we've talked about quite a bit on WGSN is just the level of personalization that happens now with these events. So like you're not going to Party City anymore and buying like 10 trucker hats that say bridesmaid. It's like these deep levels of personalization, whether it's like pajamas or tote bags. There's like this merch culture now.
Bachelorette trips and bachelor trips, those are also things I don't really think were that common when I was a kid. Like people used to you would have a party, you'd have a bachelorette party. But now it's like, we're going to go to Miami, Nashville, Scottsdale, or wherever. Night 1, everyone's wearing wigs. Night 2, everyone's wearing latex. Night 3, every day is like a different theme. And there's all this, it's a whole drama. One thing that I'm thinking about, a lot of this discourse revolves around bridal parties, but I'm curious about the grooms and their crew. Like, do the guys have the same kind of expenditures? Like, is there a gender element we're seeing at play here? Or am I delusional? Like, am I just making that up?
No, you're definitely not delusional. And when I was writing this article, I kind of was thinking the same thing. I was like, okay, why are only women spending so much more money? Data from The Knot from 2023 would suggest that's actually not the case. Men are spending almost the exact same on bachelor parties.
My jaw has dropped. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. And then anecdotally, when the story was published, my DMs were flooded with straight men who had been on all these bachelor parties saying, well, we felt pressured to buy table service or bottle service. And they ended up, a lot were spending more than the women. And I think guys might be actually greater victims of peer pressure, I think, in these moments. Like, I can't say no when we're splitting the table fee, which is $10,000,
Yeah.
And the drinking that they spend money on and the golfing and all of those things really tank them as well, which is interesting.
I also think that a lot of it has to do with male identity, perhaps much more tied up with their spending ability.
We've talked about the wedding parties, but even for people who aren't a part of one, like the most expensive wedding I went to was a destination wedding, and it was beautiful and totally worth it. But it was in the $3,000 range for me, and I was not a part of the bridal party. And destination weddings, they are on the rise. According to the business research company, the market for destination weddings is expected to have grown by 30% this year. There's also inflation, which has increased the cost of travel and other expenditures related to weddings over the past 5 years or so. The guests can really bear that financial burden, even if in some cases, a destination wedding can actually be cheaper for the couple getting married. And I've seen some reporting from the New York Times about how some couples are charging tickets, like a cover fee for guests to come to the wedding. We actually interviewed some people on the street, and one of them was a very young person, I believe only 18 or 19 years old, college freshman. And they were talking about how they were originally going to be charged $150 to attend a cousin's wedding, but they sang at the wedding, and so their fee was knocked down to $50. I mean, it's a lot to process in my mind. I'm like, have things changed so much or gotten so expensive that some people feel that it's normal to charge people a fee to attend their wedding, like a club? I don't know.
That's so tacky. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a big no. And it sort of speaks to the culture that we have that has to do with kind of main character energy, where it's like, well, it's my turn. There's this expectation that when it's my turn, all of my friends will do this for me as well. When it's my turn, I'll sort of get pampered too. And up until 20 years ago, you would just pick up a brides magazine, or you would just, maybe get a Martha Stewart's Brides. Now you're inundated with this imagery all the time. There's so many social media wedding accounts. And I think that you would never see imagery of people's weddings in the way that we do now. And so we're hyper aware of it. And again, it ups the ante in people's minds. So I think they're like, when it's my day, I'm going to get married, I'm going to do this and this and this and this.
Yeah. I actually spoke with a very prominent wedding planner, and she told me that she sets a cutoff date for changes to be made to the wedding planning details now because her brides see so much on social media, and they think, wait, we need that because my friend just did that, or this random girl across the country did that. And
that's crazy.
It's just this overconsumption of ideas, and it's, these brides are trying to keep up with the Joneses, but now we have the parasocial Joneses as well, which pose a much larger threat to our budgets, I think.
When it's just some random stranger that you're seeing on social media, it's like you really, really, truly have no idea what these people's financial situation is. You could be looking at somebody, 6 generations deep into family wealth, or somebody who's 5 figures deep into credit card debt. You really don't know. Coming up,
it's almost like this is my one night to cosplay as ultra wealthy and show that off online, and it doesn't matter how much debt I have to go in to make that dream a reality right now.
Stick around.
This message comes from Whole Foods Market. Make every holiday party shine with Whole Foods Market. Hosting Stock up on their wallet-happy 365 brand with appetizers like walnut honey shrimp and breaded calamari. Plus, save now on crowd-pleasing bone-in spiral-cut ham with no antibiotics ever. For dessert, check out limited-time treats like their holiday rum cake. With so many ways to save on festive spreads all month long, shop Whole Foods Market today. Terms apply. Support for this podcast and the following message come from Mint Mobile. Turn your expensive wireless present into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint Unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/minute. Limited time offer. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Above 35 gigabytes, network may slow when busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com.
This message comes from Mint Mobile. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no hidden fees. Plans start at $15 a month. Make the switch at mintmobile.com/switch. That's mintmobile.com/switch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5 gigabyte plan required. Equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
I also, though, I've been thinking about like weddings as like a place where economic delusions and economic realities clash. Like, you know, for people who aren't rich, which is the overwhelming majority of people, it's like one night to kind of like ball out and have the place settings and the fancy cutlery and the dress and the hair and the makeup and all those things that probably are not a part of their daily lives. But all that comes at a cost.
A lot of, my friends in the South, they're very true middle-class America. It's almost like this is my one night to cosplay as ultra wealthy and show that off online, and it doesn't matter how much debt I have to go in to make that dream a reality right now. But I think it has to do with, like, honestly, the evolving American dream, because the American dream was once a white picket fence house, 3 kids, whatever else. But now it may be that loft in Venice Beach that you rent for life but you never own, right? Our whole idea about what success looks like has changed. And I think having a flashy wedding, knowing you may be paying it off for years to come, might be worth it to some younger people.
It's very much this YOLO attitude of like, well, I'm going to be in debt anyway. I'm going to be in debt, so why not blow out, have a great time? Anything that I do is going to require some sort of debt, so why not make it this event that I love and like have these memories?
Right. And I could see how that could be an attitude that guests might have too.
I love this little data point. This recent report from Zillow found that the typical combined cost of like going on one bachelorette trip, one wedding is $2,010, right? And that's almost exactly the same as the average monthly rent in America. And that same poll found that 46% of Gen Zers and millennials are actively sacrificing the quality of their homes to be in other people's weddings. That means like they're living with an extra roommate, or they're, downsizing to a smaller apartment, less bathrooms, whatever. They are actively sacrificing their quality of living on the day-to-day to be in other people's weddings, which I was like, that's absurd. But I probably have done that subconsciously.
That is absolutely wild. But I wonder, why can these expenses be so hard to say no to as a guest?
I was complaining about this to a male friend of mine, and he said, this is the most self-inflicted wound I've ever heard of. Fair point. I am an adult with agency over how she spends her money. But I think there is a particular delicacy surrounding anything having to do with a good friend's wedding. And I think one thing that people don't think about is when you say no to being in one wedding or going to one wedding, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of them. For example, if you say no to being a bridesmaid in one wedding and then maybe next year you have enough money to say yes, that bride that you said no to might take it as, oh, I'm less important to her than the bride she just said yes to. When in reality, it may just be that you find yourself in a better financial situation. Like one of my friends, for example, who I interviewed for this piece, she said no to the first bachelorette trip because of work. And then she decided, I'm sticking by that line. And, she saved $10,000 by not going.
I agree with everything Annie Joy said, but I think there's also just this element of FOMO that just runs through the underbelly of like social media culture at all times. Whereas like if you're gonna opt out of something, then like you won't be in on this thing that is playing out in real time on social media. And even if you're not necessarily like an influencer or have a big following, you do have the people that you went to high school with, the people that you went to college with. Like everyone is always watching all of the time if you are a person on social media.
I do understand like that FOMO thing. Also, too, like very often, like anytime I haven't been able to attend someone's wedding because either I had like a work commitment or some other family commitment or it wasn't in the budget, I have felt sad that I could not share in their happiness with them. Like that aspect of it does make me like disappointed. But ultimately, I have a high level of comfort telling other people when I cannot afford something. I wonder how much of this also has to do with like people's comfort or discomfort wanting to be honest with other people about what they can reasonably afford and where they are financially.
One way I think about it is like now that I'm 27, I've been in enough weddings to be a little exhausted. I know that if it's not that close of a friend, I will just say no. But when I was 21, it was a lot harder to say no to these things. And the funny thing is, you have the least access to money probably when you're 21. And so when you have the highest level of FOMO, it lines up when you have the least money a lot of times. And so once you become more sure of yourself and just grow up, it's way easier to, like, I can now be like, why did I say yes to that girl? We're not even close.
People who are having a wedding, they want certain friends to RSVP, no? So that they also will not have to pay for them.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, every guest is a dollar amount.
Exactly.
I wonder, is it possible to be a good guest or support your friend without spending so much money? Or is there a cultural idea that spending this kind of money is how you demonstrate the depth of your friendship?
I think that you can, show friendship and love without this big hoopla. But again, I say this as someone who like didn't register and so maybe I have a different experience. But things have become so transactional. I always think of like the apps and stuff now used for like planning, and like there's Venmo and there's Splitwise and there's all of these things that just make everything so transactional. It's just like this passage of money between people.
And you can see the amounts and you know what it's for.
Yes.
And it's all like,
it's so
they're
finite.
line items. Yeah.
Yes, these line items. Exactly. That's like such a great way of putting it. I think that what has happened is that we've made everything so expensive. And so it's like there's this expectation of like, well, you're going to come to my wedding and then you're going to give me this certain amount of money back.
Right. Like through the gift or paying for the batch trip or contributing to the honeymoon fund.
We sort of lost like, not to be cheesy, but kind of like what it's all about. And we want people to buy specific things off the registry. Don't go off registry because that's not my personal style or whatever. Whereas like for years, it was like, oh, my grandmother knitted us this thing or she gave us this gift and now it's like everything is just so black and white of like, get me this.
Oh my gosh. It's literally thought of as bad etiquette for some people. Call me country. Yeah. But I didn't know until a few years ago that it was bad etiquette to buy something that like just made you think of the person or the couple that's like off registry. And I'm like, oh, sue me, trying to buy you a gift.
Yeah.
I think there's a number of ways, if you can't afford to be a bridesmaid or go to the wedding, I think there are a number of ways to make the bride feel loved. Like, say, maybe I can't come to the bachelorette trip, but I'm going to take you to dinner at this nice spot that's going to cost me a lot less overall. Just me and you. I'm going to give you a little gift. I'll write you a note. Like there are many things we can do that almost feel more personal than going on these trips or going, buying the registry item. But I think, one thing is if you come to a bride and you're like, hey, I really financially cannot do this right now. And they tell you, oh my God, of course, like, don't worry about it. That's awesome. You have a good friend there. If they say, that's not okay, I need you to make this work, or if they, distance themselves from you, maybe it's time for a friendship recalibration, right? These weddings can kind of, bring those things to the surface. And maybe we aren't as close as we were when we were 16, right? So I think, especially now that I'm older, maybe in a way you find out how close you are with this person, how much you matter to them by saying, here are my financial boundaries. I love you. I want to make it up to you in XYZ ways. And if they can't receive that, maybe we shouldn't be stressing about spending so much money on their wedding,
Totally.
Yeah.
Maybe not every relationship is a 4-figure price tag relationship. And that might be
Totally.
something to consider. Allison, Annie Joy, thank you both so much. This was great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was Annie Joy Williams, assistant editor at The Atlantic, and Allison Reese, senior analyst at trend forecasting firm WGSN. So you all know I love hearing from you. And over the past few weeks, some of you have left the sweetest notes for me in the comments and reviews. One of y'all wrote, "This is my favorite podcast produced by NPR." Me too. Another wrote, "Thanks for enriching my life." You guys, I'm blushing. And if any of those comments resonate with you, I would love, love, love it if you rated and reviewed this show wherever you're listening. It helps other people find the show, and that means this community we're building will get even bigger. So join the team. Rate and review this show right now. And thank you. This episode of It's Been a Minute was produced by
Liam McBain.
This episode was edited by
Nina Patak.
Engineering support came from
Robert Rodriguez.
Our supervising producer is
Barton Girdwood.
Our executive producer is
Verilyn Williams.
Our VP of programming is
Yolanda Sanguini.
All right, that's all for this episode of It's Been a Minute from NPR. I'm Brittany Luce. Talk soon.
This message comes from Jerry. Are you tired of your car insurance rate going up, even with a clean driving record? That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/NPR today. Support for NPR and the following message come from Rosetta Stone, the perfect app to achieve your language learning goals no matter how busy your schedule gets. It's designed to maximize study time with immersive 10-minute lessons and audio practice for your commute. Plus, tailor your learning plan for specific objectives like travel. Get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off and unlimited access to 25 language courses. Learn more at rosettastone.com/NPR.
This message comes from Kachava. Indulge in holiday cravings with the nutrition you need from Kachava's all-in-one whole body shake. It packs 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, and more. High-quality ingredients with no fillers or nonsense. Try the newest flavor, limited edition chocolate mint. Go to Kachava.com and use code NPR for 15% off. That's Kachava, KACHAVA.com, code NPR.